Snehal, welcome to the mock interviews.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
So, Sneha, tell us briefly about yourself, your academic qualifications, your work experience, if any, after your BTech electrical engineering, and your main hobbies.
Yes, sir. Sir, my full name is Sneha Arugula. I am from Nizamabad district of Telangana, and I got graduated, as you just said, in electrical and electronics engineering from Vishweshwaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. Since then, I have been preparing for civil services full-time preparation, sir. And my hobbies are I like spending time with kids and teaching them, and secondly, watching biopics.
So, Sneha, tell me, uh, you are in Telangana, and it was Andhra Pradesh some 7 years ago. Now, what were the main cultural differences or differences of any kind between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, which resulted in bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh?
Yes, sir. Sir, we are united by language. We are still a family, but there had been minor cultural differences, sir. Like it has been largely due to the historical reasons. Firstly, Telangana has been ruled by Nizam kings for a long period of time. So there has been an influence of Urdu literature and Persian culture on Telangana, while there has been a lot of English influence on the Andhra Pradesh region, sir. This is a major cultural difference. This is depicted in at various levels. Coming to the food, to the dialect we speak, or to the kind of dresses we wear. So it is depicted in every aspect of the culture to a small extent. So this is majorly cultural differences, sir.
Now, Sneha, third COVID wave, everyone is, not exactly awaiting but dreading. Now, suppose you were the district collector of Nizamabad and you are in the present situation on this particular day, and third wave is dreaded in your district as well. Now, what preparations from today onwards you will start doing, some
Yes, sir.
steps that you will take to
Yes,
see
sir.
that the damage is minimal?
Yes, sir. So firstly, Nizamabad district is on the Maharashtra borders. So as Maharashtra is again going to is seeing a surge of cases even in third wave, and it has been leading the cases. So I think there is an increased focus that has to be led at the border level, so that firstly the import of cases will be less. So border level testing can be done, so that only people who are negative can be so rapid testing can be done. Only people who are negative can be allowed. And secondly, I think we have to revamp the health infrastructure, because post second COVID, there has been again a sense of relaxation or relaxation that has been following. So again, I think we have to send the standard protocols, so that the health infrastructure, the hospitals will be again ramping up their capacities. And thirdly, I think at the economy level, Nizamabad is very resilient, sir. It is agriculture driven, but I think coming to other aspects, it is again due to the lockdowns, there will be a hit on the people. So even for jobs and online, for them to turn to online, I think there has to be sufficient mechanisms done, so that people will not be hit by the economic crisis also.
You are an electrical engineer, Sneha.
Yes, sir.
Now, generally, when we talk of losses, of electricity or power supply, we talk of two things. One is transmission losses, and the other is power theft.
Yes, sir.
Now, again, you are in a district and you are faced with a lot of transmission losses in your, you know, from the source to the end point. And imagine
Yes,
that
sir.
you are generating electricity in your own district.
Okay.
And
Yes, sir.
second is you are having trouble of power theft, both in urban as well as rural areas. How will you address these two problems?
Yes, sir. Firstly, coming to the first part, transmission losses, I think there has to be a restructuring at the way the sources are connected to the consumption areas. Like if there are any mismanagement, if the sources are connected from the large distance sources, I think there needs to be a revamp at the level of allocation of power. And secondly, in the long term, we can also promote remote level solar power plants in the solar power plants in the domestic level itself, so that the energy consumption will also be more optimal, eco-friendly, and this transmission losses can also be dealt in a more appropriate manner. And secondly, coming to the power theft, I think there has to be proper monitoring, sir. Firstly, smart meters can be installed to ensure that we understand where the power theft is happening. And secondly, manual monitoring can also be done using ground level staff. And by using both of these measures, we can take steps where we can decrease it, sir.
So Sneha, we had started the non-aligned movement in
Yes.
60s.
Yes.
Now 60 years ahead, you think with the policies of neighborhood first, thinking west, acting east, part of Quad, Indo-Pacific Ocean. Now, all these developments, you think that India is no longer following the policy of non-alignment?
No, sir. I don't think we are stopping non-alignment. Rather, it is becoming more relevant now because of the more dynamic and multipolar world we are experiencing today. I think it is more relevant, and I think for every quad assembling we are doing, there is a SEO simultaneously participation also. I think this is new form of NAM we are following. I don't think it is rather getting its importance is getting sublined. Rather, I think it is emerging in a new way, new form.
Okay. So I pass on Sneha now to Mr. Khanna. He will ask you the next
Thank
set
you, sir.
of questions. Thank you.
Good evening, Sneha.
Good evening, sir.
So, 2017, thereafter you have been writing examinations only, or you have worked also?
I was writing examinations only, sir, but simultaneously, whenever I get time, I'll teach kids as a hobby, not as a profession.
All right, and this is going to be your first interview at UPSC?
Yes, sir.
Good. So, who has been motivator in your life? Who motivated you to become a civil servant?
Sir, it is my mother, sir. And firstly, and secondly, she's a single mother. We had coming to my story, it is one of the IAS officers, sir, Vinay Kumar, sir. He has played a key role in my life to take this step and today to sit here for me. Firstly, when I was about 13 years old, my family was in a financial crisis, sir, and it was my mother. Uh, we were actually my mother is just a matriculation pass, and she did not have any job. It is due to a skill initiative program of our district collector Vinay Kumar, sir, through which she got into a job, and today even she is doing that job, and she's highly empowered, sir, and she's the real motivator. And Vinay Kumar, sir, is the reason behind I am sitting here. So I think these two important figures have played an important role in my life.
So now tell me about civil services itself. Why do you want to become a civil servant?
Sir, I personally experienced how a civil servant can change the individual's life, sir. It is me. I am the proof that civil servant have this profession has a lot of potential, and I want to give the same back to the people, sir. I want to see so many Snehas more, and the way I think we have talent, sir. Only that we have to give more opportunity to them, like I have been given. So I think that is what I want to do, sir. I want to spread the
But
good
you are
I have.
you are still in the process. You have not become a civil servant. So why do you want to become a civil servant? All that you said will come later. So tell me the strong points of why you want to become a civil servant. Have you heard the question, Sneha? Sneha, hello.
I think connection issues.
Hello. Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
From whose side? My Sneha?
No,
Yes,
sir.
now you
From
are.
her side only. Now it's okay.
Specific reasons why you want to. Okay. Why you want to become a civil servant?
Sir, I want to work at the grassroots level, sir. I want to bring about a change. I want to contribute back to the society. So if I feel I will be I can utilize my potentials so that I can bring about a change, sir. Firstly, coming to the women areas, I really want to work on women empowerment, sir, and that always drives me to get into the services, sir.
So these ASHA workers who were involved in the pandemic, they also have some issues. So can you highlight the issues that ASHA workers have been voicing for quite some time, especially after their effort in the pandemic? Are we doing anything? What will you do if you are in a position to take care of ASHA workers?
Yes, sir. So firstly, ASHA workers, I think, have been overburdened, sir. They have been overburdened with uh, multiple level of interventions they have to take, multiple level of works they have to take. And secondly, there has been a need of using technology even during the COVID times for helping people to get vaccinated or to do a digital survey, how how much the COVID has penetrated into the remote areas of the rural areas. I think there was a need of technology. Firstly, they did not have access to technology, like example, mobile phones, and they did not even have sufficient training to use them. So combinedly this, and thirdly, due to the even in the COVID time, they were facing increased threat of getting infected. Meanwhile, they have to face vaccine hesitancy also. Whenever they were going to people to raise awareness and all, they were facing increased backlashes from the people. These all increase the mental burden on the ASHA workers, sir. And steps I would take: firstly, there has to be a technology provided to them, sir. Let it be mobile phones or the internet connectivity. Firstly, at the infrastructure level, we have to support them, sir. And secondly, we have to provide them with skilling or training, so that they will be in a better position to make the full use of the technology we are providing them. And I think thirdly, we have to even impart them with the more training, like managerial skills or uh, communication skills, so that they can optimally utilize the potentials they have.
Okay. You didn't mention of the poor salary structure that ASHA workers have. They
Yes,
have been
sir. That is
complaining about very low salaries. So I think that is one point which uh, you need to mention, isn't it? Can you hear me?
ASHA workers to help, sir. So simultaneously, it is our duty to increase their salaries also when we are expecting them to work more.
Okay, okay. Tell me how PLI scheme announced by Finance Minister will help electronic manufacturing sector in India.
Yes, sir. So it is one of the very good recent initiative that has been driving growth in many sectors, and so it has been expanded to various other sectors also. Apart from the three sectors it has been initially launched in. Firstly, in electronic sector, it is actually targeting uh, industry to provide incentives to industries only which have the incremental growth, uh, incremental production. So in that, by only focusing targeting the by it, thereby it cannot decrease, I'm sorry, sir, it will have a decreased burden, financial burden, and it will also incentivize many investments to come up. And secondly, it is providing it is having specified targets for the industries to come up, sir. So I think it is taking up a targeted approach to increase manufacturing production and streamlining the process of setting up industries in India, sir.
Perhaps you can think of,
Sorry, sir.
manufacturing of the components
Yes, sir.
under PLI, so that India's productivity improves, right? Electronic components. So that is going to be the key in PLI.
Yes, sir. For example, in mobile
All right.
sector. Yes, sir. Mobile phones.
In mobile sector and chips and electric vehicles.
True, sir.
So coming to electric vehicles,
Yes.
can you compare salient features of electric vehicles versus internal combustion engine vehicles?
So firstly,
How will EV overrate over internal combustion engine vehicles?
yes, sir. So the power source for both the vehicles is different, sir. Firstly, for internal combustion vehicle, normal vehicle, as we know, has this IC engine, sir, which works on petrol or diesel, and sir. But electric vehicle, it uses electricity, and for which it uses a battery. Right now, the technology is basing on a battery, which is provided inherently in the vehicle itself. So because of the IC engines, we have been facing problems of pollution, sir, and inefficiencies. But these problems will be solved by electric vehicle because it uses electricity, which can be generated through renewable energy sources, or otherwise also because it is generated at a large scale, like in thermal power plant, which has higher efficiencies than the IC engine, which uses petrol localizedly. It will have higher efficiencies, sir. So thereby decreasing the pollution levels and environmental impacts at a larger level, sir.
Okay. One or two quad.
Sorry, sir, because of the signal, I was not able to hear the question. Can you please?
Quad. India being a member of Quad Plus, is it a sign of aligning with any group? What are the advantages of Quad Plus, and what is India's role in it? Are we aligning with any group?
So it is a way of aligning, sir. It is a kind of alliance where we are aligning with US or Japan, or Japan, US, Japan, and Australia in it, so that we can counter China, sir. But it is not a military alliance as like any NATO or NATO, sir. So it is only happening at a level of dialogue, security dialogue, and it is mainly used to ensure that there is a Indo-Pacific freedom of navigation, or a free Indo-Pacific area is ensured, sir. So due to the rising aggressiveness of China in the world, the nations have come together to set up Quad, sir.
So is that the only objective?
No, sir. It will serve other purpose also. For example, recently there has been a supply chain resilience initiative. So that these countries together can pour up the advantages they have in different fields, so that they can create alternative systems and lead to world development.
Okay. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Sumesh.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good evening, Sneha.
Good evening, sir.
So I would like to talk about your optional subject, which is anthropology.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me, or can you name major tribal districts in Telangana?
Adilabad district has the highest tribal population in Telangana, sir, due to the large forest area it has, and it has Gond tribes in it, Gond and Chenchu tribes in the lower parts of the south parts of the Telangana are also famous. Sir. They are PVTGs and known for their vibrant culture and.
Okay, so let us assume you are a district collector of Adilabad,
Yes.
of the tribal district. So how would you address the problems faced by tribal population in your area?
Sir. So firstly, being an anthropology student, I understand, sir. We have to not see these areas as a backward or underdeveloped areas. We have to understand that they have that vibrant culture. It is just that we have to help them in whatever way we can at their own pace. So firstly, I think there has to be a proper communication channel so that they can vent out their grievances. And for this, I will ensure that because their languages are different, there can be a kind of translator that can be placed in the nearest government offices where they have to reach out to. And secondly, personally, I will try to involve myself by learning the language and also always being accessible for them. And thirdly, I will try to understand the local problems, sir. Firstly, the goats have been facing problems like not able to utilize illiteracy or not able to utilize the facilities, basic facilities that have been provided by the government. The welfare schemes have not been reaching to them. So I will work on these areas to understand the constraints where these problems have been coming up from, and I'll take target-oriented approach solutions, sir.
So let's talk about Indian economy.
Yes.
Can you briefly do SWOT analysis of Indian economy as of today?
Okay, sir. So, firstly, coming to the strengths, I believe the Indian economy has its strength as the demographic dividend rightly we are facing now, sir. And secondly, the kind of huge skill set we have in our nation, in India, sir. Though we don't have the formal training, I think the huge youth population is one of the biggest strength. Coming to the weakness, the COVID lockdown, sir, and large unemployment that has been happened led to a lot of people, even the women, withdrawing themselves from the labor force participation. So I think we have fallen down, and we have to again rise up to catch up the growth back. Coming to the opportunities, sir, in the digital sector, the IT area has been one of the services, especially coming to the IT area. These are one of the biggest opportunities we have. And coming to the industrial revolution 4.0, we can prove ourselves more and contribute more, and is one of the biggest strength where India can reach upon, sir. And coming to threats, it is the same strength can become a threat, sir, if demographic dividend, if it is not utilized properly, if we are not still neglecting our youth to be educated and skilled, then it will become a demographic disaster, sir, unlike it being a strength.
Yes, very good. Okay, and teaching is one of your hobbies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so CBSE has divided its academic year into 2 terms recently. Okay, so are you aware of it?
Yes, sir, I heard about it.
Okay, so what will be the impact on children of this decision?
So firstly, before this, while I was studying in my own 10th class, I have to read the whole 1 year syllabus for the last one exams, end exams. But now, because of the division of the whole annual year into 2 terms, it will be a less of burden to the children to whenever they are going to the exams and preparing for the exams. And secondly, there will be more harmonious division of the syllabus and more coordination in respective completion of the syllabus. It will be easy for the teachers and also students to complete it, sir.
Very good. So I again pass on to Chairman, sir.
So Sneha,
Yes,
in
sir.
government we keep listening to various nomenclatures. Tell me, what do you understand and how do you differentiate between a policy, a plan, a program, a scheme, and an abhiyan? And if you can also give some illustration to explain. Have you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, coming to the policy, for example, recently we have got National Education Policy, sir. It sets out the broad outline, the way the whole sector has to take up, sir. It gives us the broad principles and the broad outline so that the further plans or programs within that sector can be taken up. For example, in national education policy, we have set up for ourselves goals like vocational education as one of the principal and skilling to be done to the people as one of the important features in it. So accordingly, plans can be made so that these vision of ours, as provided in policies, can be actually realized. Secondly, coming to the plan, I think it is a short term targets we'll set up for ourselves, sir. Like for policy, while policy is for 10 years, 20 years, 30-year timeline, plans are for briefer years, like 5 years or 6 years, so that there will be a targeted approach for this 5 years, so that we can achieve something, achieve a specified targets in this time, sir. Coming to the programs or programs, sir, I am unable to differentiate program, but coming to the scheme, it is a kind of initiative the government takes so that it will serve a purpose. For example, Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. It is to ensure that the working women do not lose their wage loss due to their pregnancy. So a particular purpose, one particular objective is served through a scheme for which a targeted section of society is targeted, sir. And through it, funds are allocated to the development of the or achieving of this objectives, sir.
And Abhiyan?
Abhiyan is a campaign, sir. It is basically kind of movement, people movement that is taken up, so that Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, it is a kind of people's movement we have taken up so that we ensure cleanliness and hygiene in the minds of the people. So it is basically targeted at the psychological level, and behavioral changes are intended to be done. So it is a kind of Abhiyan campaign that is done, sir.
Good. So, Sneha, this new reshuffle cabinet has been reshuffled. Now, two departments have got prominence. One is that the Department of Public Enterprises has been brought under the Finance Ministry, and a new Ministry of Cooperation has been formed. Now, what is the message that government wants to convey?
Sir, I'm not well read about the Ministry of Public Enterprises being merged into Ministry of Finance. But coming to the second part of the question, that Ministry of Cooperatives Cooperation is being established, I think it is a step in right direction, sir. Coming to India, from the independence, we have been trying to promote cooperatives, even as suggested by as envisioned by our father of nation Mahatma Gandhi. So I think strength of India lies in cooperation, strength of humans lies in cooperation. And simultaneously, for example, even today, many women empowerment initiatives like SHGs have been working at the grassroots level to bring about a change in the society due to the collective energy they can gain through cooperation. And I think it has taken a right step to send a message that we have to work more on the cooperative sector, sir, by establishing such a ministry.
So, Sneha, we have covered all that we wanted to ask from you. Now, you can ask, we can ask you one last question from your subject of choice.
Biopics, sir.
Hmm?
I like watching biopics. Like it will be entertaining to end it with a biopic.
Okay, so what biopics have impressed you most?
Yes, sir. Sir, my favorite biopic is Dangal movie, sir. It impressed me the most because, sir, patriarchy as a subject personally, I have seen it, but I understood it only exactly like the kind of inherent patriarchy in the minds of the people from that movie, sir. For example, despite having such potential kids, girls in the home, a father was not able to understand it. He cannot understand that even the medal got by a girl will be equivalent to that of a boy. So this was only after an incident that he was able to understand the potential of his girls. It was not very much evident in the first instance. So this actually hit me, sir. This made me understand the levels of patriarchy inherently in the minds of the people.
Good. And the one biopic that you liked most has been the biggest hit in the Indian cinema.
Yes, sir, it is. Even in China.
So, Sneha, we finish our interview here.
Sneha, I want your own reaction. How you think you have done today?
Sir, overall, behavioral wise or kind of approaching, I think I was okay, sir. But in some answers, I think I stopped abruptly. I had such a feeling. And in middle, in one or two questions like PLI scheme, kind of was not able to be in the moment and answer, sir. I was kind of getting tensed. That anxiety took over me, and though knowing the answer, I was not able to answer it. So I think I have to work on my anxiety levels a little bit more, and also
Exactly.
mm, restructuring the answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And what else?
And I think some
So I
answers I
think
have
you
to
have
restructure
got the
better.
point. You have very pleasing personality. Yes. So Sneha, you have a pleasing personality. And today I found that you were over anxious. And in your anxiety to uh, immediately reply, you started answering and then you fumbled somewhere in between. Right?
Yes, sir.
So, best course of action is take a pause, hear the question, take a pause, mentally frame your reply, and you need not be very long, in explaining. Like, who is your mother? First, you said your mother, then you talked of some IAS officer. So, question was very specific. If it is your mother, stick to that. And then in civil service, why you want to join civil service? You were not focused. All right. Then you were over anxious.
Okay, sir.
In your replies, I found that suddenly or abruptly you will stop. You knew the answer, but you stopped. Then you will
Yes, sir.
say, "Oh, sorry, sir, I am missing the point." So, lesson to be learned from today's mock is that compose yourself, make
Yes, sir.
best use of your very good personality. You are positive, you are smiling, you perhaps also know the subject, but while delivering, you are committing these mistakes, which is not desirable, in UPSC interviews. Now coming to specifics, ASHA worker, you said everything except the salary component for which they had recently gone on strike. And it was a big newspaper headline that ASHA workers in a particular state were demonstrating. So some states have increased their salary. So just take care of the then comes electronic and PLI and assemble in India versus make in India. You could have framed your reply emerging out of the question itself. PLI was introduced to promote electronics and to promote electric vehicles, to promote chip making in India, to promote telephone components instead of assembling manufacturing in India. So suddenly you stopped and you took a different route. Then quad plus, you were all right, but your reply was very long. Okay. Electronic vehicle versus IC vehicles. Again, you knew, but you came to the point much later that electronic vehicle is much lighter in weight. Everything you said except comparing the weight component. There is no engine. Here there is a battery. So there are only 3,000 components in electric vehicle as against more than 50,000 or so in ICV. So the weight reduction and consequently pollution control.
Yes.
So just keep a check on yourself.
Okay, sir. I'll work on.
Compose yourself, stop, think, frame bullet point replies, and then come out. Okay. And make best use of a very nice personality you have, smiling face, and you are an electric engineer. So I've got only this much to advise you,
Thank you, sir.
and chairman will guide you further. Vinodji.
Thank you, Khanna sir. So, Sneha,
Yes, sir.
uh, I have similar, uh, you know, points to mention what Mr. Khanna has said. Just to take it further, uh, I think your speed of speech, could be an issue which sort of makes you go very fast, and then suddenly your thoughts and your speech, they do not match, with the result that you may have to say sorries, or maybe you have to go back, repeat the sentence or repeat the words. So you would be able to tell better if you can just bring down the speed, because knowledge wise, you whatever you wish to speak, you spoke. You were not, you did not pause because you started looking for some expression, some answer, some ideas, because the flow was very fast. The only thing is that you probably went faster than or speedier than what your flow's speed was. I don't know if you can just uh, give your own view about what I have said. Then maybe we can think of solving this issue. What do you have to say on this?
Definitely, sir. I also see it as a issue, sir. I always have this problem. I think it is because of the anxiety I face, sir. Whenever I'm faced with a question, I have this anxiety that I have to complete it as fast as I can. So I speed up the answer.
No, don't call it anxiety. I have not seen you anxious. I think it is more of excitement.
Exciting. Thank you, sir. That's a positive word.
Because
Sir,
anxious, I did not see the anxiety expressions on your face. Internally, you may define this feeling as an anxiety, but when you speak faster, you don't speak fast when you are anxious. You are excited, and you want to deliver whatever you know. Cut, cut, cut,
yes,
cut. Am I right?
yes, sir. True, sir.
So be patient. None of the interview board members are going to run before 30 minutes. None of them is going to tell you, Sneha, now you go. You have, so you are in a mood to speak very fast so that you put all your points before they ask you to go away. They will not ask you to go away. So
Sir,
this excitement of telling things fast and very fast is emerges from this feeling कि सामने वाला will he listen to me or not? Let me pour everything before he stops listening. Am I right?
yes, sir. True that. I have like I fear that I may be stopped, or I may stop in between, or maybe the members will get bored if
No, no,
I
no.
stretch it too
This
slow.
is totally Sneha. You are the, I won't say king. You are the queen of for 30 hours, 30 minutes. Nobody will question you. They will let you speak, and only when you finish, unless you are on a wrong track of the answer. Question was something else. You have started replying. Maybe member will say, "No, Sneha, hold on. you have not understood my question. I wanted to ask you this. That's okay. But don't have this feeling that somebody will, before you finish, you'll say, okay, Sneha, now my next question is this. Oh, I wish I had spoken even faster so that I would have poured. Now, speaking faster has another drawback, that the person, the listening is also affected. I'm not able to understand the words, that the expressions that you're using.
Okay.
So, and thirdly, it is not in a conversation mode.
Okay.
It becomes like a narrative, a question and then you cut answer, question and cut answer. No, it should be look like a conversation, and the conversations are never spoken very fast. So try to, you know, try to rehearse, in such a manner. If it is your original habit, then maybe you will not be able to change much. But if you think that you can command over your pace, much of your problem, which Mr. Khanna addressed in detail, I think can be taken care of. That is one. Secondly, is that you need to increase your depth of knowledge. You know, Electrical engineering, so you have to be well versed. You could be asked any questions. You answer transmission losses, power theft, everything is fine. You also mentioned about the policy plan program schemes behind, but you were a bit shaky. You did not speak with confidence, and you had to say, "Oh, program, I don't know." I also asked you to give some illustration of each. You gave for education, and then you forgot. Now, not knowing something is different. Forgetting to answer is another thing.
True.
As a board member, I have got this impression that you have forgotten. The fact is that maybe if I ask you the name of a scheme, you would be able to tell the schemes. Now, see, today the scheme's name is known as Yojanas. They call it Yojana.
True,
So
sir.
you have
Yes, sir.
hundreds of Yojana today. There is no dearth, right? And a program is like like a mission. For example, in the earlier days, it's just that now in English program is not used. Everything is English and Hindi is the same. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana will be written as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in English also,
Right, sir.
right? So the programs are, for example, at one point in time, there was this district primary education program, DPEP.
Okay.
It was for education, enrollment of children and all. So a
Yes.
program is a mission to do something. Right? Scheme always has some allocation, financial allocation. That there is a scheme. The scheme is of 100 crores. Under the scheme, so many people will get benefited. You can apply, get so much of loan, so much of equity subsidy. This is a scheme. And Abhihan, you rightly mentioned. So this is about it. And except for this part that you were speaking a bit fast, and because of being very fast, you paused in between, you had to correct yourself. Otherwise, it was very interesting to interact with you, Sneha, I must say.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So your personality is very strong, very pleasant, and you knew your subject well. A bit longish in some questions. So
Okay.
you should know how to be precise and stop, which we have already discussed, that you don't want to stop till you are stopped. Don't adopt that policy. You
Okay.
stop on your own. What will
Hmm.
happen? The moment you stop, either they will ask, what more, Sneha? You have only mentioned 2 points. Yes, sir. Then you start again. Or they may say, all right, good. Let me now ask you. Ideally, the second thing will happen more because the members will like to ask more and more questions within that 30 minutes rather than keep, you see, जैसे वो एक Hindi, you understand
I
Hindi.
know. Yes, sir. I do speak Hindi.
Okay. आप तेलंगाना में तो हिंदी चलती है काफी.
Yes,
वो
sir.
कहते
Yes, sir.
हैं
And
अकलमंद को इशारा काफी होता है. So when the member is inquisitive to know whether you know this or not,
okay.
the moment you start something and the moment you express with 2 lines, the member understands, oh, she's on the right track. Then we are not testing your knowledge, the details. We are testing your alertness, your presence of mind, your personality, and how you deliver and how you behave while answering, whether you are tensed, whether you are relaxed, whether you are confident. And in those questions where a situation is given to you, you must think, at least 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds before you start answering, because you need to structure your thoughts. I asked you about theft and this thing. So, I put the responsibility on you. What would you do? So telling a question answer in general and telling it, taking it on as your own responsibility, there's a difference in how you place it.
Yes, sir.
That you have to think for a while and then you speak out. So we have considered you, Sneha, a good percentage, 63% we have given you today.
Thank you, sir.
Which is, in the very good category. But I can bet with some of the issues that we flagged, if you take care of them and do more of rehearsal and update your knowledge, you will certainly be between 65 and 70.
Thank you, sir. I'll work on that, sir.
Yeah. So ask any question if you have in mind.
Yes, sir. Sir, as you were pointing out, like I have to think before the answer. Like after every question, can I take a pause of 6 to 7 seconds
Yes.
without asking for the permission? Like
without asking. But
I can.
not necessarily every question. I mean, it is not as a routine. But if you take 6, 7 seconds pause, I think that is the best thing, because you need to structure your answer. And then your speed will also be less, because by that time you would have structured. But don't make it a habit where you feel that within 2 seconds you can start. You start. You see, if I ask you, tell me about yourself, you don't need 6 to 7 seconds to think. And if I ask you, well, what is the special thing about Nizamabad? Now it will look very, very awkward, you thinking for 5, 6 seconds. So the members will feel, oh, ye to Nizamabad ki hai, and she has to think. Think on those where a situation is placed before you. And it's a complicated kind of question.
And I can do that without even asking for permission. But if
Never
I
ask.
want,
Never ask. You can ask the member only, number one, sir, I have not heard the question properly. So can you please, or is it this that you are asking, sir? I could not understand the question. And put it on you. Don't say, sir, you have spoken so low that I'm not heard. The fault is yours. Sir, I'm sorry, I could not hear. Even if the member has spoken, in a very feeble voice, you can't say, sir, you speak so feebly. अपने पे ही दोष डालना होगा कि I have not been able to understand. Or, sir, I am not very well versed with this answer, but sir, can I guess? Yeah, please guess. And then you can start attempting. Can I attempt? So otherwise, don't ask for pause and then again take permission. Sir, can I? It will look very awkward. What else?
the speed thing, I should just practice saying answers slowly. So
Practice. And the moment you find, Sneha, that you are not interrupting yourself, you are not pausing yourself, You're not repeating one or two words and then starting again. The moment you just start, looking here and there, searching for a word, समझ लो वो स्पीड आपकी बिल्कुल सही है. तो स्पीड को आप सेकंड्स में मत गिनना, इतने वर्ड्स पर मिनट, डोंट डू दैट.
हाँ सर.
ठीक है?
ठीक है सर.
So all the best, Sneha, do well.
Thank you sir.
All the best, Neha.
Thank you sir.